of love, the bait of grace. But one thing that must be considered in this, watch this, times are changing. Here it is. Here's my message. We have a new crew of folk. We have a new dynamic. The dynamic is different. We got a different code in the street. Back there in the 60s, everybody would box. Now they're shooting. There's a different code. There's a different dynamic. The times are changing. While we still stuck doing the things we did in the 40s, trying to reach the folk in 2010. Oh, we can't change the way it used to be. We got to be ritualistic. We got to be traditional. We got to wear suit and tie in the pulpit. We got to do this and we got to do that. But times are changing. So when the water changed, that means time changed. That means you got to change your bait. Oh, God, help me preach here. Y'all not helping me. We have to learn how to be relevant to the fish in which we're catching. We don't have the same people grandmama and them was. Come on, grandmama and them was faithful. They were committed. If they found out the preacher was cheating on his wife, they still wouldn't leave the church. Oh, y'all quiet in here. That's why you look at the old mothers. They've been in the church 30, 40 years. Don't matter what happened in the church, they ain't going nowhere. They had the word called stick-to-iveness. Now we got the preacher got to watch who they hang around with. They got to separate themselves because people can't handle their humanity. They find out that the pastor fought, they messed up. Y'all messed up. Y'all messed up. Y'all messed up. You mess around and hear the pastor say a couple words he don't usually say. Now you mess up. I want to leave the church. He ain't holy. He ain't right. Can you believe what he said? So the dynamics are different. As soon as you lose focus, you flee. The focus ain't whether the pastor passed gas or not. The focus is he's seeking souls to be saved. So the mothers didn't care what went on. They knew if they invested. See, one thing about a person, it's hard to leave something you invest in. They didn't have much money. They probably lived off of their little monthly income, but they gave all they had to give. They sold all kinds of stuff, and they cooked all kinds of dinner. They labored and toiled. So no matter what somebody do, they ain't going nowhere. Yeah, boo, you can leave, but I ain't going. The pastor can leave, but I ain't leaving. That's why some mothers been in church 30 years. They've seen 4 pastors in the 30 years. Outlived the pastor in the church. Yes, sir. Knew that the pastor was lying. Knew that the pastor was stealing. Knew that the pastor was running around with women. Knew that the pastor was sleeping with women in the church. Had it all written out. Had it all looked in. Had videotapes on it and still ain't go nowhere. But if you happen like that with this generation, you'll be standing in this pulpit by yourself. The dynamics has changed. I'm making a good point. Times have changed. At one time, you couldn't go into a Baptist pulpit without a black robe on. Are you kidding me? We make it so hard for folk to come to the throne of God. We make it so hard for folk to enter to the altar of God because we put mandates and we put polity and we put procedure.